One dreary August morning in 2015, on the tail end of the last summer holiday of my secondary school career, the last carefree 6-week break I would ever have before starting the long march to the grave that is adulthood, me and my friend Mike decided to make an excursion to the cinema for a couple of hours of escapism. We went on the website to see what was showing, and since we'd gotten down to the dog days of blockbuster season, the pickings were slim. Pixels, Strange Magic, Hitman Agent 47, Paper Towns, Sinister 2. We picked a bad day to go to the movies. The biggest film that was out that week was a reboot of the Vacation franchise, with Ed Helms as a grown-up Rusty Griswold taking his own wife and kids on a disastrous road trip to Walley World. Before I'd even gone to the cinema's website to see what was on, I had no intention of watching this new Vacation. The original Chevy Chase Vacation films are some of my most treasured favourites from childhood. At least the first and third ones are, the rest kinda blow. And belated comedy reboots are almost always a letdown. Less than a year earlier it had been burned by Dumb and Dumber 2. And on top of that, it had been eviscerated by critics. Richard Roper called it a vile, odious disaster. So all hope I had for the reboot was dead and buried, and I had no interest in watching it. But then I opened up the cinema's website and the banner image on the front page showed Chevy Chase and Beverly D'Angelo in character as Clark and Ellen Griswold. From that image alone, I got hit with a warm tingle of nostalgia and went from having no interest in this movie to suddenly being really excited to see it. The promise of seeing these two characters back in action on the big screen, even if it was just in a cameo appearance, was too good to pass up. So I convinced Mike, who'd never seen any of the previous Vacation films, that we needed to watch the new one, and we were off to the races. And when the film was over, I came out absolutely baffled by all the negative reviews. I thought it was hilarious. Every set piece landed beautifully, and the cast had no dead weight. They were all really funny, and they were all perfect for their roles. It might not be an all-time classic like the original Vacation or Christmas Vacation, but it's a hell of a lot better than European Vacation or the god-awful Vegas Vacation. I love the self-awareness of this film. That was the first sign to me that it would be great, and I felt like the reboot was in safe hands. When Rusty announces the trip to Walley World, it doubles as a conversation with the audience. Rather than pretending we needed this movie, pretending it's not a cash grab exploiting a familiar IP, pretending it's not the same movie all over again, the reboot gets all that out in the open, right up front.
So you just want to redo your Vacation from 30 years ago?
No. We're not redoing anything. This will be completely different. For one thing, the original Vacation had a boy and a girl. This one has 2 boys. And I'm sure that there will be lots of other differences.
It acknowledges that it hasn't changed much from the original story, and it acknowledges that most young people today haven't even heard of the Vacation franchise.
I've never even heard of the original Vacation.
Doesn't matter. The new Vacation will stand on its own.
The whole scene is really fun and disarming. It allows you to let go of your preconceived notions and just go along for the ride. The reboot leans way more on the R rating than the previous films. The original one was only rated R because Animal House had become a massive box office success, so they threw in some tits and F-bombs to elevate it above a PG-13. Or PG. PG-13 didn't exist back then. The reboot was made in a similar box office climate, post-Hangover, where R-rated comedies were as lucrative as superhero movies, and it actually had one of the stars of The Hangover, so it went even further with the raunch and the profanity. I'm not complaining, it's just an observation.
He totally just came in here to show off his six-pack.
The key to making a Vacation reboot work was the casting. Chevy Chase left some hefty shoes behind, and I think Ed Helms does a solid job of filling them. They might be a bit spacious in the toes, but for the most part he nails the Griswold manner, an average suburban Joe who's prone to accidents, social faux pas, and the occasional fit of rage. Christina Applegate matches Beverly D'Angelo's energy as the straight man, but she also gets some great gags of her own, like when the family go to her old sorority house and she does a crazy drunken obstacle course. And the movie wouldn't work nearly as well without the kids. In the original movies, Rusty and Audrey never really had a solid characterization or dynamic. They were played by different actors in every film, so their age and personalities were always changing. Sometimes Rusty was the older one, sometimes Audrey was the older one, sometimes Rusty was the mischievous one, sometimes Audrey was the mischievous one. In the reboot, the kids have a much clearer dynamic. It's one of the funniest parts of the film, and it subverts the usual bickering brothers trope. We've seen a million movies about bickering brothers where the older one bullies the younger one. But in Vacation, that trope is flipped. The younger brother is the foul-mouthed bully who terrorizes his sensitive, dream-journaling older brother.
I'd like to explore the real America, like Jack Kerouac or the Merry Pranksters.
Don't say weird shit!
They're endlessly hilarious together, and Skylar Gazondo and Steele Stebbins, great name by the way, it's like a country singer's stage name, play their parts perfectly.
Do you like school this year?
It's okay.
So, do you like school this year? That's seriously what you sound like. Just shut up.
The movie has some great cameos too. Leslie Mann plays Audrey, mocking Rusty for wanting to recreate the worst experience of their childhood. Norman Reedus plays a kindly trucker who's heavily implied to be some kind of sexual predator.
So you're not a rapist?
Looks like your car's pretty messed up.
Hey, you know, you never told us why you keep that teddy bear in the front of your truck.
Oh, yeah. Oh, it makes the kids feel more comfortable.
Oh, yeah. You have kids?
No.
Keegan-Michael Key plays a family friend and fellow father who's everything Rusty wishes he was. And Key got in so many great ad-libs that some of them had to be cut for time and spilled over into the deleted scenes. But the standout is Chris Hemsworth as Audrey's husband, local weatherman Stone Crandall. From his southern charms to his subtle dick measuring to his weird obsession with faucet metaphors, this is a truly hilarious character, and the first sign that Hemsworth was a gifted comedic performer before his turns in Ghostbusters and Thor Ragnarok.
Same old Rusty. You buy water from a faucet. Shoot, you boys are growing faster than the weed under a faucet. You could make hot water come out of the cold faucet. Even the strongest faucet sometimes lets out a few drops.
What is with these faucets?
In the vein of all the previous vacation films, the road trip is marked by a series of big comedic set pieces. Rusty drives a quad bike through a cow, the Griswolds take a dip in a hot spring that turns out to be a dumping ground for sewage, and Charlie Day plays a heartbroken, suicidal, whitewater rafting guide who takes the Griswolds into deadly rapids in an attempt to kill himself and take them down with him. As the film goes on, these set pieces keep getting bigger and crazier, and they all land.
Can't live if living is without you. I can't live. I can't give anymore. I can't live if living is without you.
There's a great running gag with the Albanian car Rusty rented for the drive. It has 2 petrol tanks, 6 ashtrays, a sentient Korean sat-nav with a fiery temper.
Just leave it alone, let it calm down.
Mirrors on the front and back of the car facing each other so you're always looking back at yourself, and an ominous swastika button on the fob. Everything we learn about this car is more absurd than the last. It's a great yes and elaboration on the family truckster gag from the original film. And as much fun as all the big, broad gags are, this movie doesn't need to go big and broad to get laughs. Some of its funniest moments are smaller moments driven by character and situations, like Chevy Chase trying to get a guitar out of a cupboard, or Chris Hemsworth parading around in a pair of boxers with a prominent bulge. Maybe the funniest scene in the film is a really dark sequence where Rusty tries to wingman his son and ends up unwittingly coming off as a pedophile.
I'm just a stranger passing through town, but I couldn't help noticing how incredibly handsome this young man is. What's your story? You got a girlfriend?
No.
What? No girlfriend? Cute boy like that, somebody's gonna snatch you up.
Do you want me to call the cops?
No.
Andy plays guitar. Dream boy.
It's a shame this movie never got a sequel. I would have loved to follow this new generation of Griswolds on a bunch of other holidays, but at least the one we got will never get old. I must have rewatched this thing a couple of dozen times over the past decade, and I still laugh out loud when Rusty tries to wingman James, when the driver's seat randomly turns around in the middle of the motorway, when Clark struggles to get a guitar out of a cupboard, and when a blood-drenched Rusty asks if the cow is okay.
Is the cow okay? No, the cow's not okay, Russ. You drove plumb through him.
Thanks for watching, guys. I hope you liked the video. Remember to like and subscribe and click on the little bell. And also seize the day and call your mom and be kind to yourself.